A very good Monday morning to everyone out there. Hope you all had a phenomenal, staying cool weekend. Landon here with you to bring you your latest scorching hot and humid weather forecast, courtesy of Ohio Valley Insurance. Folks, the heat wave is here and it's going to be locked in. The good news is early this morning we got some cloud cover that's spinning off of a Gulf disturbance down there across the deep south. Got a chance for some hurricane development down in that direction. More on that here as we get a little bit later into this morning's video, but blatantly we got some cloud cover that's present out there. Folks, keep your fingers crossed. We could really do with some cloud cover hanging around there with the intense heat and humidity that we're going to be dealing with throughout the entirety of today. White Squirrel Weather Nestcam kicking things off for us, overlooking Bowling Green and the beautiful campus of WKU. Got a few wispy clouds over in that direction, but down across the southern tier of Wobbles, we got a thicker cloud deck. Sexton Bill Bitter Sky Cam showcasing a lot more cloud cover there across the southern tier of the region. This is what we're going to be dealing with throughout the entirety of today, all right? A healthy mix of sun and clouds. It's going to be scorching hot and humid, and we can't rule out the opportunity at a few pop-up storm chances as we progress on into this afternoon. Temperatures and dew points, folks, already located in the lower 70s, all right? We're going to be taking highs all the way up to right around the mid-90s this afternoon. Combine that with the dew points between the low and mid-70s. Heat indices will be rivaling the century mark of 100 degrees. If you're going to be spending extended periods of time outdoors, not just today, but pretty much for the remainder of the week, please take the necessary precautions and give yourself plenty of breaks, all right? Here's a look at the surface map, all right? We've got this widely expansive area of you seeing these little green dashes here throughout across the eastern tier of the U.S. This is signifying the summertime pattern that brings along the risk of these sporadic, robust cells that develop during the afternoon. It's going to be similar to yesterday. It wasn't widespread by any means, but the few locations and wobbles that get in on the rainfall, they got in on quite a bit, stretching from the north side of Warren County up into Edmonson County yesterday. Keep your fingers crossed, folks. It's starting to get pretty dry out there. Hopefully we can get a few more of these to kick off today into tomorrow if we are lucky enough, all right? So we'll put this into motion throughout the day. And again, folks, this is going to be a typical summer-like pattern. You'll notice we go into midday on into this afternoon into peak heating. We get these robust scattered cells that develop and then pull off to the north across the region. You will note with the loss of daytime heating throughout the overnight, the activity begins to simmer back down as we close in on the 10-11 p.m. time frame tonight, all right? Not everyone's going to get in on rain. As a matter of fact, the vast majority of us won't see anything at all, but hopefully at least a few of us can get in on a little bit of a rainfall here, maybe a stray storm or two with some nice outflow to help cool down these extraordinarily hot and humid conditions we're going to be dealing with. Folks, here's the name of the weather game for the foreseeable future. We have got this expansive upper level ridge that has just parked itself basically right over top of the eastern seaboard. We're going to have numerous disturbances. It's going to be trying to work in here from the west, folks, but we're going to put this, mirror this with a surface map here in just a moment. And you can see all these disturbances are going to be riding to our west and then off to our north, with this upper ridge simply not letting any sort of weather makers get in here, all right? So here we are looking at the 500 millibar level. This is 18 to 20,000 feet up above our head with the heat dome that's going to be dictating our weather pattern. Now let's combine that with the surface. We got this surface high pressure underneath the upper level ridge. You will note these disturbances that are just going to ride to our west and to the north, all right? Again, we might get in on some pop-up sales both this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon, but the vast majority of this activity is going to remain to our west and to our north, as you can see here. Then, folks, as we get later into the work week, it's really going to get even hotter and more humid. We're talking about real-time readings between the mid and upper 90s, heat indices well up into the triple digits. We will be rivaling the opportunity at some heat advisories, possibly numerous, being issued throughout the last half of the week, all right? You can see here we stay dry as a bone all the way through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then finally, folks, with any luck, keep your fingers crossed because this is not a for sure sell, that's for sure. But we got this deepening low pressure system up in Canada, this expanding cold front that's coming all the way through the Ozarks, down across the southern plains, and slicing through Texas. Not showing a whole lot of moisture return on this, but as we get into Sunday afternoon and evening, we just might get in on some sporadic storm development there. Again, folks, these rain chances are going to be few and far between, but hopefully we can get at least something in here before it gets too serious on the drought scale, all right? We're not there yet, but after this week and on into next week, if we don't get much of anything, folks, we are going to be ripe in the middle of a drought that's going to be taking shape. You can see here, folks, Monday into Tuesday and next week, Wednesday, perhaps by Thursday of next week, we're finally going to get the ridge to break down with these showers and storms moving in here from the west. So, folks, again, we're talking about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks out before we see any significant, put that into quotations, chances for the wet stuff that's going to be arriving here in the forecast, all right? Now, this has been placed out by the National Weather Service, and it's important to take note of. This prolonged heat wave is going to be underway today. It's going to continue throughout the remainder of this week. Temperatures each day are expected to exceed the 90-degree mark. We're talking real-time readings on the thermometer, folks. Heat indices will be at or near and around, potentially exceeding 100 degrees. And the 4 questions I asked before working prolonged periods outdoors. Do you have enough water? Is there temporary shade available? Do you know the symptoms of the heat illness? And do you know who to call in case of an emergency? Folks, I'm not trying to put an alert out there, but folks, if you recall last year, we had a nice heat wave that came through here in the mid and latter part of summer. We had numerous distress calls from the local emergency management and emergency services here that was responding to heat-related illnesses, including 1 or 2 instances of heat stroke. So we need to be very, very aware of this. This is coming along here early before the even official start of the summer season. That'll be taking place later this week. But the weather, regardless, folks, summer is coming in like a lion. That is for sure. Now let's shift gears and let's talk about what we were looking at on the opening slide there, where we had the satellite overlay with all the cloud cover that was streaming in here out of the south, and all that is pinwheeling off of this disturbance that has been given a 70% probability of developing into a tropical cyclone, all right? We'll be watching this to see if it intensifies, becoming a tropical storm or even a hurricane. We are in the official start of hurricane season. We got temperatures above average in the Gulf of Mexico that could promise or give some indication of it being a very active hurricane season. So any of you all heading down to the Gulf Coast here over the next week or two, you need to keep very, very close eyes on that particular weather maker. Total rainfall forecast over the course of the next week. Next to nothing if we are lucky enough to get caught underneath the sporadic cells today into tomorrow. That might dust down a tenth, maybe a quarter of an inch of rainfall before it is all said and done. Folks, take a look at your scorching hot and humid 5-day weather forecast. Low to mid, even upper 90s today, all the way through the end of the week, all right? We got a sporadic storm chance both this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon, but outside of that, sunshine's going to be coming right back into the mix and absolutely dominating our weather pattern for the foreseeable future. It's going to get much hotter throughout the last half of the week on into the weekend with those heat indices at or exceeding 100 degrees. So again, please take the necessary precautions, especially if you're going to be spending extended periods in the great outdoors. That'll wrap up your Monday morning scorching hot and humid weather forecast presented by Ohio Valley Insurance. You all take care of yourselves and each other. Stay cool. Check on your friends and neighbors. Have a wonderful start